Earlier today, we got our first look at Madden 25 franchise mode, along with updates to presentation. And overall, I feel like there's a lot of good changes to the mode. Today, we're going to dive a little bit deeper than what was discussed in the trailer by going over some of the gridiron notes and discussing many of the changes that have been put into Madden 25 franchise mode. From the new NFL draft to personality management and storylines, I feel like the mode this year is far more immersive than it's been in the past, and I feel like they took a lot of things from EA College Football and NBA 2K that have worked in the past. That starts with the NFL draft, and if you guys know me, you guys know that I love going all out for the NFL draft, so the fact that we now have all of this extra stuff relating to it is music to my ears. The draft feels authentic. We're going to get a look at Roger Goodell on the stage. We're going to get a look at NFL draft war rooms. All of the players are going to have fresh outfits, and they're going to shake Roger Goodell's hand after getting picked. Small changes like that are really exciting, and it feels like the sights and sounds that we normally get with the NFL draft. I can't wait to see what this looks like in-game in a couple of weeks. The draft board is also much more user-friendly. When you look for prospects, there's a lot more information that's easily accessible. The player's rank, how far they've moved up or down the draft board, height, weight, age, archetype, and probably the best part is that you can search through physical grades or attributes. Say you want to find the fastest receiver on the board. It's so much easier to do that now than it's been in the past where you had to click on each player's individual player card. From the draft itself feeling more authentic to the draft board being a lot more easier to navigate, I can say pretty confidently as a draft enthusiast that they hit this part out of the park. Let's talk about personality management and storylines. Part of managing an NFL roster is dealing with very different types of personalities. You're going to have players with larger egos. You're going to deal with players who are more willing to take one for the team. And I feel like that's finally represented here in Madden. There are over 70 new dynamic storylines making you feel as if you're running an NFL team. Rather than just roster building, you have to manage all of these players and personalities. You're going to make promises that you're going to have to keep, and if you don't keep them, you'll be punished. If you do keep the promise, you'll be rewarded. In one of our storylines, you'll have a player who shows up to training camp out of shape, and from there, your input decisions will affect how that player responds. If they're motivated or if they don't choose to really focus, and that will likely hurt their attributes or progression in some way. You're also going to have to deal with the media as well. Going into the offseason, the media will hold you accountable for what they tell you, just as it is in real life. If you're planning on making a splash in free agency or the draft, you better actually follow through with it, or else there will likely be consequences. Another example is when players point out a weakness in the opposing team during a meeting in film. You get to choose how to attack that weakness, and that will ultimately determine how your team performs. If you win the game, you'll likely be rewarded, and if you lose or fail to exploit that weakness, there's going to be some kind of consequence. They wanted to create these storylines to make it feel authentic, and at the bottom, they talk about Patrick Mahomes sitting for a year and develop. In the past, really the only way to develop young players is to play them. But now we can sit them and they can still progress. That's something that's been missing with Madden for a while. And I think the cool part about these storylines is the authenticity. In the past, it would just look like a random text message, but now you're speaking with the players face to face. You're in the meeting rooms. You're on the practice field. It reminds me a lot of my GM in NBA 2K. I think the role-playing element is very similar, and the look is very similar as well. So I think they took a lot off of my GM and tried to model that here. Overall, I'm really excited about this edition as well. Some of the other notes that were added in the gridiron notes include breakout storylines, which have been completely revamped. This way there's more variety, there's more risk, which sounds pretty exciting. One of the things mentioned in this paragraph is double or nothing. Say you complete a breakout challenge, you have an opportunity to get an even bigger reward, but you could lose it all. Teaching children about gambling. Love to see it. It also talks about late round draft picks breaking out early into their NFL careers, just as we've seen with Isaiah Pacheco, whose name is spelled completely wrong here. I see nobody proofread this article. And Puka Nacua as well. This is another thing that really excites me. We need to be able to have these late-round players turn into stars, because I don't see that enough in Madden franchise. By managing a team of players who have very different personality styles, you have to build a culture, which is one of the biggest challenges in the NFL. That's not something we've had to deal with in Madden franchise until now, and that's one of the most important parts of NFL roster building. All of these dynamic storylines take place where they would in real life: the team meeting room, the coach's office, press conference, practice sidelines, and the locker room. You'll still be able to get text messages from your coordinators and players, and it seems like there's more communication between you as the coach and the roster manager compared to the other people within the organization. This will have a huge impact on your roster, and it's going to be really fun to play out. Let's talk about Teambuilder now, which of course is something that people have been wanting within the game for a while, and it finally has been added. It looks pretty much identical to Teambuilder within EA College Football 25, which was to be expected, considering the two games are made by the exact same company. You can create and upload your own logos, you can make your own uniforms, helmet, stadium, etc. We already knew that going in, because that's the case with EA College Football 25. But the cool thing that hasn't really been talked about here is that you can build your own rosters. I think it's going to be a lot easier with Madden, since there's no name, image, and likeness that you have to deal with for college football. I think it's going to be easier to make the players your own, and you can build your own fictional rosters and your own fictional league, as you can add up to 32 Team Builder teams within your league. I'm hoping that you'll be able to add Team Builder teams after you create your save file, because what I like to do in NBA 2K is rebrand everybody's uniforms. In EA College Football, though, you can't really do that. You have to put the Team Builder teams in right away, so that's what I'm ultimately expecting will be the case for Madden, which is a little bit disappointing, but I hope I'm wrong. Let's talk about some other smaller additions within franchise mode. It's a lot easier to go through records across the NFL. You can sort through the entire league and for every team in terms of game, season, career, and rookie records. The one thing that I'm a little bit disappointed in is that I do like in the past how you're able to look at the top 10 for each list. I would guess that's not going to be the case this year. I could end up being wrong, but I still prefer this significantly, because you get to look at all 32 teams and their individual records for, again, games, seasons, careers, or just rookies, which is a really nice touch. The user interface within the mode has changed a lot. The team selection screen looks really good this year because it provides a lot more information than previously. In the past, you could only see the team's rating and their 3 best players. But now you can look at their 5 most notable players. You get a ranking list for where they stack up compared to the rest of the NFL, all of their development traits, and their status within the league. The Chiefs, for example, are obviously listed as a championship contender. I think the interface itself for the mode is a little bit bland, but it's very simple, and I think it looks fine. There are also now female likenesses for your head coach, so if you want a woman to be your coach, you can now have that as well. Roster AI and progression. This is a big one for me. There's a lot more logic for the CPU in terms of roster building. AI logic within free agency, the draft, franchise tags, re-signings, etc. is a lot better. Now, they've said this in the past, and I feel like it hasn't really gotten that much better. So I guess we can take this with a grain of salt, but still, it's nice knowing that they're at least attempting to make the AI better, and it seems like progression and regression are going to be better as well. I think regression's been a lot better than it's been in the past, but I'm really liking what I'm hearing about player progression. Young stars will turn into stars sooner. That's the biggest issue I've had with player progression in this game, is oftentimes rookies take 3 or 4 years to break out, when in the real NFL, many rookies and second-year players burst onto the scene immediately, and I'm happy that appears to be the case now in Madden 25, with CJ Stroud being the example that they used here. CJ Stroud was a stud as a rookie, which you don't normally find within Madden, so I'm happy that hopefully that'll be the case this year. Let's also go through some player likeness updates as well. Are you a Lions fan that watched Sam Laporta dominate despite everyone telling you rookie tight ends don't put up numbers? Yes, that is exactly me. Are you a Bears fan ready to watch your number one pick, Caleb Williams, cook with a star-studded supporting cast? No, that is absolutely not me, but the point remains, it seems like that they've put a lot of emphasis into player and coach likeness, and the presentation at the game looks really good. The scoreboard looks phenomenal. It looks a lot like the ESPN Monday Night Football one, which I think is one of the cleanest scoreboards in the NFL right now. And then presentation throughout the games itself looks so much cleaner than it has in the past. Along with that, we're getting new broadcast teams as well. I know people are excited about that. I'm curious to see what the Tirico and Olsen pairing looks like. Now, I turn off commentary because, well, I do my own commentary for my videos, so this doesn't really affect me. But it's still a nice addition to the mode, although I am sad that the example they used for that was Justin Jefferson scoring a touchdown against Detroit. So that'll wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of Madden 25 franchise mode down below. I think there's a lot of positive changes to the mode, and I'm excited to get my hands on the game within the next couple of weeks and start producing content. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.